Om Jnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalaka Chakshurmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. I'm thinking just to read a few verses from the introduction to Bhakti. Prabhupada is quoting the general how Krishna functions. It's not supposed to be a general knowledge quiz. It's some questions about Krishna consciousness. But express them. Any of you have any pending questions? You're reading different books, any questions arise? So I'm going to read from the end of Prabhupada's introduction to the Bhagavad-gita as it is, in which he's quoting from the Gita Mahatmya, which means the glories of Bhagavad-gita. Prabhupada writes, this is after his long purport, it's 30 pages introduction to Bhagavad-gita. Just to give us the understanding of how we should read Bhagavad-gita and what we are to understand. Summarize. So in conclusion, Prabhupada writes, Bhagavad-gita is a transcendental literature which one should read very carefully, just in the end. It's about 2 pages from the end. It's from, if you see Gita Dhyana Shilasya, this verse. Yeah. So before that, Bhagavad-gita is a transcendental literature which one should read very carefully. Gita Shastramidang Punyang Yapakhet Prayata Puman Vishnu Padamavapnoti Hayashokadi Varjita. If one properly follows the instructions of Bhagavad-gita, one can be freed from all the miseries and anxieties of life. One will be freed from all fears in this life, and one's next life will be spiritual. Vishnu Padamavapnoti. One will go to. There is also a further advantage of studying Bhagavad-gita. Gita Dhyana Shilasya Pranayama Parasyaja Naiva Sandhi Papani Purva Janna Kritani Cha. If one reads Bhagavad-gita very sincerely and in all seriousness, then by the grace of the Lord, the reactions of his past misdeeds will not act upon him. Then Prabhupada quotes Krishna from Bhagavad-gita. The Lord says very loudly in the last portion of Bhagavad-gita. Now we have some extra information. We've many times heard the verse, Sarvadhaman Parityajya Mamekam Sharanam Raja Aham Tvam Sarvapapyabhyo Mokshayesham. So Prabhupada says that Krishna says this very loudly. So Krishna is speaking Bhagavad-gita to Arjuna, and then when he comes to this verse, he says very loudly, Sarvadhaman Parityajya Mamekam Sharanam Raja Aham Tvam Sarvapapebhyo Mokshayesham. Prabhupada is giving some insight. Krishna is speaking very loudly. What's the translation? You can say in Croatian. You can say? No? I don't know in Croatian, so you have to say.
Ostavi sve vrste religije I samo se predaj meni.
Right? That's the whole thing.
Ja, oslobodit ću te svih griješnih posljedica, ne boj se. Mačuđa means ne boj se.
Thus the Lord takes all responsibility for one who surrenders unto Him, and He indemnifies such a person against all reactions of sin. You know what indemnify means? What's the word given in Croatian? It means He clears you. It's like a legal term. Absolves you. That's the word used in theological.
Protect.
There may not be any exact term in Croatian. It's a legal term. In Catholic or Christian language, they say absolve. To indemnify means it's a legal term. They wipe out all the charges. Is the term used here. And absolve from sin is the term used in Christian, English Christian vocabulary. Absolve, you know what that means? It's just like, you go to the church and say, Dear Father, last week I killed 52 people and shot another 40 and they didn't die, and robbed 15 banks, and says, say 3 Hail Marys and light a candle and you'll be absolved from all the sin. So it's something. Of course, we don't recommend it. Maline mochanang pungsang. Maline mochanang pungsang. Jalhastada dine. Sakrit. Gitam vasi snanam. Gitam rita snanam. Samsara malanashanam. One may cleanse himself daily by taking a bath in water. Bath in water only once. Sakrit. Only once. If anyone once I'd protect them. If only once. Surrender, that means that you stop doing what you like and you start doing what Krishna. That's the meaning of surrender. Gita, if one takes a bath even once in the sacred Ganges water of Bhagavad-gita, for him the dirt of material life is altogether vanquished. Gita, sugita kartavya, kimanyai shastra vistarai, yasrayam padmanabhasya, mukha padmadvinisrita. Gita, sugita kartavya. Gita means the Bhagavad-gita. Sugita should be sung. We should sing this song. Sugita kartavya means should do. Duty. Kimanyai shastra vistarai. What is there need to study so many different shastras? Because this is directly spoken by Krishna, the Supreme Personality. Because Bhagavad-gita is spoken by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, one need not read any other Vedic literature. One need only attentively and regularly hear and read Bhagavad-gita. In the present age, people are so absorbed in mundane activities that it is not possible for them to read all the Vedic literatures. But this is not necessary. This one book, Bhagavad-gita, will suffice because it is the essence of all Vedic literatures, and especially because it is spoken by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. As it is said, Bharatamrata sarvasvang Vishnu bhaktrat vinisrutam Gita gangodakam pitva punarjanmana vidyate. One who drinks the water of the Ganga attains salvation. What to speak of one who drinks the nectar of Bhagavad-gita? Bhagavad-gita is the essential nectar of the Mahabharata, and it is spoken by Krishna himself, the original mission. Bhagavad-gita comes from the mouth of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And the Ganga is said to emanate from the lotus feet of the Lord. Of course, there is no difference between the mouth and the feet of the Supreme Lord. Where's that stated? No difference between the hand and the mouth. Angani yasya sakalindriya vrittina pashanti pandikam. There's no difference between the mouth and the feet of the Supreme Lord, but from an impartial study we can appreciate that Bhagavad-gita is even more important than the water of the Ganga. So would you all like to go to India and take a bath in the Ganga? Nice idea. Better. Even better. It's sitting on Bhagavad-gita as it is. Here it is. Sarvo Panishado Gavo Dogda Gopalanandanaha Harta Vatsa Duktan Gita Bhagavad-gita, the essence of all the Upanishads, is just like a cow. And Lord Krishna, who is famous as a cowherd boy, Gopalanandana, son of Gopal. Well, it can be Gopal who is Nandana. He's milking this cow. Arjuna is just like a calf, and learned scholars and pure devotees are to drink the nectarian milk of Bhagavad-gita. Ekam shastram devaki putra gitam, eko devo devaki putra evo, eko mantras tasya namanyani, kamapyekam tasya devasya seva. In this present age, people are very much eager to have one scripture, one God, one religion, and one occupation. Therefore, Ekam shastram devaki putra gitam. Let there be one scripture only, one common scripture for the whole world, Bhagavad-gita. Eko devo. Oh, Shri Krishna, Eko mantras tasya namani, and one hymn, one mantra, one prayer, the chanting of his name. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Kamapti Kantasya Devasya Seva. Let there be one work, only the service, the Supreme Personality. Chakshuram Militam Yena Tasmai Shiguru. Andeham Shiguro Shiyata Madhamalam Shiguruna Vaishnavams Shilupam Savajam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Bhakti Saitam Krishna Vetam Shri Radha Krishna Bhagavata Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Most essential book of spiritual knowledge is Bhagavad-gita, as it is. In essence, all the philosophy of spiritual knowledge. So it's most important to understand this Bhagavad-gita. Practically, you'll see, Prabhupada was preaching Bhagavad-gita philosophy. Even his Bhagavatam lectures. Of course, there's no difference between Bhagavad-gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. But the same topics expanded. It's like in Gita, Krishna says, "O Arjuna, there is no truth superior to me." So, in Bhagavad-gita also, Krishna explains that, but in great detail. That is explained in Srimad Bhagavatam. So, the whole presentation of Krishna consciousness was on the basis of this Bhagavad-gita. The basis should be very firm and very strong. Bhagavad-gita is very practical for us to live in this world. There was... historically speaking, there was some criticism of Gauriya Vaishnavas for being too otherworldly. I use that word how to stop, she didn't get that. Otherworldly, that means to be, you know what it means? It means not really just living in another kind of world. Maybe a mental world. Or
so like in the sky.
Pie in the sky kind of thing. Well, it can mean also like mystic, something like that. That you're just absorbed in consciousness of something which has no relationship to this world. So actually Krishna consciousness means Om Tat Vishno Paramam Padam Sada Pashyanti Suryo Diviva Chakshara Vitam Yachivave. That the devotees, they're always looking up to the spiritual world, to Vishnu. But at the same time, they're looking here also. Now there are some kinds of devotees, just like they're completely absorbed, just like you may have read this book about Bhakti-Rasa Babaji Maharaj. He had practically no relationship to this world, except that his body appeared to be in it. That's also not sure. But he was apparently here among us, but his consciousness was in the spiritual world wholly. Now, if Krishna consciousness is to be preached all over the world, it requires that devotees on the level of Bhakti-Vinod Thakur, who are no less than Bhakti-Vinod Thakur, and even maybe from Krishna's point of view, Krishna says, there's no person more dear to me than him who preaches my message. So they may even be, we tend to think someone who's just absorbed in Krishna, the spiritual world, they may be the greatest devotee. But Krishna says one who preaches this message is most dear to me, specifically from the Bhagavad-gita. So devotees like Bhakti-Vinod Thakur, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, and our own most worshipable Srila Prabhupada, they were certainly absorbed in thoughts of Krishna. As Prabhupada, when one devotee wrote with some, expressing maybe some doubt about Prabhupada, Prabhupada said that as far as I can remember, there was no time in my life when I was ever forgetful of Krishna. So Prabhupada always absorbed in thoughts of Krishna, but he was thinking how to fulfill the mission of Krishna, which is to teach people Bhagavad-gita by which they can understand Krishna and go to Krishna. And Bhagavad-gita is a very practical scripture. It was spoken to Arjuna. Arjuna, he was wanting some practical guidance for some practical problem. Should I fight or shouldn't I? We all face dilemmas in this world. Even if we want to be fully religious and good, we are faced with dilemmas. So then, Bhagavad-gita, that will give us guidance. And, of course, we may not be on that platform of peace. We waver between commitment to Krishna and desire to indulge in sense gratification. So Bhagavad-gita gives us very clear direction why we should fully dedicate ourselves to Krishna. How to do that, how to control the mind. What's that verse? One should deliver himself by not degrade himself. The mind can be one's very best friend or can be one's worst. So if the mind is under control, then Savai Manah Krishna Padara. Then if our mind is placed at the lotus feet of Krishna, then Vachansi Vaikuntha Gunana. Then naturally our talk will be of Krishna. Karo Hare Mandira Marjana Dishu. Our hands will be engaged in cleaning the temple and service to Krishna. All our senses will follow. But if our mind is not fixed at the lotus feet of Krishna, then our senses will also follow away from Krishna. So a very practical instruction to bring the mind under control. How to live in this world remembering Krishna. As Krishna told Arjuna, so much important instruction. Vamanusmara yudhyata. Think of me and fight. I want to just be religious and think of you. Krishna said, that's very good. Think of me and fight. Not think of me and stop, give up. You have some work to do for you in this world also. So do that. Think of me, certainly. But you can do both things simultaneously. As Prabhupada once said, he was at the airport in San Francisco. And one lady, maybe at the check-in counter or whatever, she asked him that, what's this all about? What are you preaching? What are you teaching? Prabhupada said, we are teaching to always think of Krishna. Well, how can you always think of Krishna? How can you do that? I mean, there are so many other things to do also. So Prabhupada gave the example. He said, just like you are doing your job, this check-in counter. So, at the same time, you are always conscious that how your hair is looking nice, and how your clothes are on properly like this. And if your hair gets disheveled, then immediately pull out the mirror and comb it like this. Isn't it? Yes, I try to look neat. Prabhupada said, just like that, we are always engaged in Krishna's service in various ways. We have so many things to do in this world, but at the same time, we're always conscious of Krishna. Just like a lady may be always conscious of her appearance. So we are always conscious of Krishna. Yoga karmasu koshalam. Koshalam means some expertise. The art of living. Some last phrase. But it means the art of how to live in this world and work in this world and always remember Krishna. So this Bhagavad-gita is essential. And I'm particularly taking up this point because I'm seeing nowadays in Croatia and in other parts of the world, there are many books. I'm also writing books. But we shouldn't forget Bhagavad-gita. In fact, this is, even if you don't read other books, read this book. And although there's a tendency nowadays to have all different kinds of approaches to Krishna consciousness, such as the the psychological approach or the astrological approach or the Gopi Leela approach. Most important is the approach that Krishna gives us in Bhagavad-gita. Basically, how to understand Krishna through the process of Bhakti Yoga as given in Bhagavad-gita. So, Hare Krishna. As I said, I'll speak briefly, and then is there any I can take them, and then I have to move. Actually, there was some request that I come here, and I wasn't sure. I didn't get confirmation, so I thought it wasn't on. So then I arranged that I'll speak in Zambia. And in the meantime, Bhaktin Renata from, is it Duga Resa? It sounds like Durga. Duga. Almost like Durga. So she became a little upset, disappointed, because we were supposed to come here. So then we made some arrangement. We'll come here, but we also have to go back to Zambia, go back to the secrets. Time is limited. Krishna, when he went to Mithila, he went to particularly to see two devotees. What are their names? Those reading Krishna book as well as Bhagavad-gita. Anyone remember?
The king and the brahmana.
What's the king's name? The king is Bahulashra and the brahmana is Shuddhadev. So Krishna broke himself up into... Not broke himself, that's the wrong word actually. Krishna never... Chaidoyam, even the individual soul is unbreakable. He expanded himself. And all the rishis with him, they also expanded themselves. But I can't do that, so I have to go back to Zagreb. So in the meantime, if there's any question, then please.
I have one question. Recently I was a few days ago on Pradesh, and I got I had an opportunity to get a service, and I was so enthusiastic to doing that service that I wish to do alone. Mataji gave it to me and want to share to help me with service, but I didn't want her. Because I was so enthusiastic that time. Usually I share with other devotees service. My question is it an offense to that devotee, and what should I do?
Maybe it depends how the devotee took it. Maybe the devotee is feeling offended. Maybe not. Sometimes, even without meaning to, you might offend someone. That can happen also. But anyway, in the course of life, there's always some kind of friction or something. So, hopefully devotees are a little broad-minded. Definitely, even if you try not to offend anyone, probably you'll offend someone. But offense, devotees also, who's actually a devotee, they don't take offense very easily also. So anyway, remember next time. You could also explain to the devotee that, I don't get much opportunity, if you could kindly give me the chance. In the next time. Anyway, let's see the questions.
About the practice of teaching.
Yeah. Hare Krishna. It's good to put a pause. Yeah. Do you want to read it in Croatian also?
Na taj način su porodični ljudi na sigurnoj strani. Prema tome muževi se ne mogu potužiti ženi. Bilo u ovom family people are on the right side. The husbands the safe side. The husbands not repay to their wives this life or the next life.
This is Kashyap speaking to Diti. So what? That he's overpraising.
Yes, like it's a joke.
Yeah.
So she wants to. Is it the fact that this is in the Vedic culture, case in the Vedic culture? Or is it just over exaggerating and then husband was there?
Well, the thing is that if anyone helps us in any way in Krishna consciousness, we can never repay, because any help in Krishna consciousness is immeasurable materially. So, if the wife helps the husband to become Krishna conscious, then one cannot repay fully. And vice versa, if anyone helps anyone else. But it may have been a joking word in this case, because Diti was, she wasn't exactly helping. What happened was, the end result of this was Hiranyakashipu and Hiranyaksha. So that wasn't exactly a very Krishna conscious result. But if it's understood in spiritual way, it can be like that. But if a man is too much materially attached to his wife, that's not considered very good. It's neither good spiritually, because he'll remain attached to this material world, or even materially, because then if he doesn't maintain his own sense of discrimination and simply acts according to the dictates of his wife, then strength. Prabhupada, in this section, actually comes right in this section, it means, Prabhupada translated as an hentai. You have that saying in Croatian? He just does whatever. He just does whatever the wife wants, which is not considered very auspicious. It's a difficult. It's in this material world, the combination between male and female is made so that every male desires to have the company of a woman, and the woman desires the company of a man. But then when they come together, exactly how it works out is very difficult. There's a story, maybe it's from the Puranas, but it's at the very least we can say it's from Indian folklore, that Lord Brahma created a man, and then he was feeling lonely, and then he created a woman. No, wait a minute, then he created a man, and the man was saying, I'm all alone, so he created a woman. He said, oh, that's very nice. And after some time he said, oh, it's not very nice. He went back to Brahma. Take her away. And then after some time he went back to Brahma and said, well, maybe you could give her back again. And this went on a few times, and then Brahma said, well, you choose, what do you want? Okay, I'll say that. It's just like in the wedding ceremony, there's this Kashi Yatra, that's in the wedding ceremony. When they're doing the wedding ceremony, then in the course of the Vedic wedding ceremony, it may be Vedic, at least it's traditional, I'm not sure. But then they're going through all the ceremonies, and then a sadhu comes in and says to the young boy that who's supposed to be getting married, actually this material world is a great illusion. You should give it up and go to Varanasi and take sannyas. And he says, oh, okay. And then he gets up and starts walking away. Then his father comes and speaks to him a little bit, and then he says, oh, okay, I'll go back. And it's like, like a drama. It's a very complex subject. The Prabhupada gives some indication, some clear guideline in his books, that the man should be ideal and the wife should be submissive. And in that way then things may go on. It's a big topic. I don't have much experience in this personally. Some people learn by seeing others, and some people learn by learning it themselves. Any other question? Everyone should get married. Prabhupada writes in the first book. Especially women should get married. Everyone should get married, but especially means women. It means that for men it may be alright, for women it's not. Yes.
What about in the cases
there are many difficult situations like this. If the wife is Krishna conscious but the husband's not interested, it may be that after marriage the wife comes in contact, or maybe that the husband is interested and the wife isn't, or it may be that the child is interested and the parents aren't, or the parents are interested and the children aren't. There's so many combinations which I come in contact with as I peregrinate around the world. So, yes. Can she lead the husband? Yeah, well, if she's Krishna conscious, then he's not, then she becomes like the guru in that case. She becomes a leader. But even then, I've seen in India where this culture is still going on to some extent, not only in India, in many countries, where the man has at least up front, publicly, the man looks strong, at least for their own self-esteem. But in many cases, when the wife is more Krishna conscious, which is quite common, but they're expert enough to do it from behind, without making him feel as if he's just, a new bhakta and she's the... So it's an art. In that case, yeah. But if the man is attached to his wife because she's teaching Krishna consciousness, she's Krishna conscious, that's good. But the thing is that it's very difficult to separate material attachment from spiritual attachment. So, therefore it's recommended that at the end of life, when one's family responsibility, the children, grown up, that even if the wife is Krishna conscious, that the man should separate himself so that he doesn't remain overly attached to her. Of course, it's also possible that they can live together in a holy place, lead a very austere life, and chant Hare Krishna. Go back to Godhead. That's also possible.
I have, on the last summer camp, I buy a book, a very nice small book, called Gita Mahatmya, Glories of Bhagavad-gita told by Shiva to his wife Parvati. And I love very much this book, and it talks that the person who recites just a few
chapters
from Bhagavad-gita, person can attain liberation. It is so powerful every day.
Yeah, well, you see, this kind of book is just to encourage people to read Bhagavad-gita. But the real thing is not just to recite it, Savadhaman, but we see people, they do that. They recite it because they think I'll get some benefit. But the real thing, that's just to encourage people to actually read it and understand it and follow it. There's another Gita Mahatmya, very long one, which says if you follow this, you can go to the moon, and maybe you can go to Atlantis on a UFO or something like that. It doesn't say that in the Gita Mahatmya. It says that in Spiritual Warrior 1. So you can, if you're a Brahmana, you will be honored by others. If you're a Kshatriya, you will conquer over the earth. If you're a Vaishya, you will get lots of money. I can't remember what it says if you're a Shudra. Maybe if you're a Shudra, then in your next life you won't be a Shudra. I can't remember what it says. But it's more or less offering people a material because people are fools. They're not interested in the spiritual message of Bhagavad-gita. But if you read this and you'll get this material benefit. So actually Krishna, he's not trying to encourage us that you will become very rich. And Krishna clearly says in Bhagavad-gita, this material world is a place of suffering, serenity, even liberation. What do we have? Liberation, you chant Hare Krishna, already liberation. So simply liberation, that's not a very great benediction in itself. But people are fools, and therefore this kind of inducement is given to them. So probably that's one Gita Mahatmya. Where is it from? Padma Purana or something like that? And there's another one, this very long one, which gives all these material, and I don't know where that's from. And Prabhupada has given this very short one here, it's 7 or 8 verses, which I just read now, Gita Mahatmya, which I've not been able to find out who composed it. Maybe it's Vallabhacharya or Shankaracharya. Some people say Shankaracharya, some people say Vallabhacharya, like that. Because Shankaracharya did another one, which is in, Prabhupada explains that in Science of Self-Realization. That one he describes. That one that ends up with... No. What is that? It ends up with Vande Krishna Jagadguru. That's the last line, I can't remember. Parama Devaki Paramanandam Kangsachano Ramavanam. I can't. Anyway, that's the last verse. It's very well known, except for people like me. So that's by Shankaracharya. That's another Gita. So maybe this one is by him also, or some people say Vallabhacharya. No one seems to be very sure who it's by. But anyway, Prabhupada quoted this one, which gives the full spiritual benefit, the actual benefit, the topmost benefit of reading Bhagavad-gita. So like that, just like you have Ekadashi Mahatmya. I have this BBKS Sangha, this email conference where there are different philosophical points put on. So the last Ekadashi was Putrada Ekadashi, which means the Ekadashi by following you get sons. So someone from Ekadashi Mahatmya, the glories of following, and you will get, by following this Ekadashi, you will get sons, and what was the other thing?
And
what was the other thing?
You go to heaven.
You go to the heavenly planet. So I wrote that, I'm a sannyasi, I don't want any sons, I don't want to go to the heavenly planets either. So, this is for karmis. We follow Ekadashi because it's Harivasa, the day of Hari. It means the day which is especially dear to Lord Krishna. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur once gave an interesting explanation, which you probably haven't heard. Something new. You always want to hear something new. I don't very often speak music. I speak the old thing. But actually most people haven't heard them because they're so busy hearing about Gopi Bhav and spaceships. They never heard things like Savadhaman Parityaja. So, Anyway, this is something new. Really new. It's 70 years old, but really. So anyway, he said that, just like this is the 11th day before or after the moon, Ekadashi Tithi. Tithi means lunar day. So we see the moon influences water, just like there's high tide and low tide according to the movement of the moon. So on Ekadashi, the water in the body increases, and this increases our spirit of enjoyment. Therefore it's good to fast, or even from water, and that will lessen the spirit of enjoyment. But even more so, this material world is a perverted reflection of the spiritual world. So on this day, Krishna's desire for enjoyment is more. Even though it's unlimited, it's more. So Vaishnavas follow Ekadashi. They don't eat because they want to spend more time engaged in satisfying Krishna's senses. They deny their own senses so that they can satisfy Krishna's senses. So that's a much better explanation than if you follow this. Krishna, this is the material world is a perverted reflection of the spiritual world. So, because our desire for enjoyment may be stronger, that's a reflection of Krishna. On this day, his desire for enjoyment is stronger. So even though his desires are unlimited. So, devotees observe Ekadashi fasting because they're so busy, engaged in satisfying. There's more opportunity to serve Krishna, to satisfy Krishna's senses, which is a much better explanation than following it to get some suns and go to the heavenly planets. Or go to the moon, or there are other ones. On some days, if you follow, you can go to the moon planet.